Alright, you guys. So here's a video that I'm going to do breaking down round 11 of the grand finals of CDL Toronto. So it's a um, match between Toronto and FaZe that ended up going to round 11. But I felt it was a really good S&D series. One I would highly recommend watching if you're into Search and Destroy, just because it was really entertaining for a lot of different reasons, a lot of back and forth, and a lot of really good trades and positioning on the map and rotations. So this is round 11, and it looks very similar from that round 2 that I just showed. Kind of the context of things, FaZe went up 2 rounds over Toronto. Prior to Toronto winning those 2 rounds, the really interesting thing to point out in the last 2 rounds is that FaZe ended up getting first blood in both of those rounds, and those are some of the only rounds that FaZe gave up the first blood advantage that they were playing. So with all the first bloods throughout the entire tournament that FaZe earned, they were able to convert 84.6% of those rounds into a round win in Search and Destroy, which is really massive and shows that they don't really give up much space for other teams to come in and take things away. Whereas Toronto has a 75% first blood conversion rate is what I'm calling it. So for every first blood they get a round win off that. So that's how frequently they win rounds from first bloods. So FaZe had a really dominant one. 75% is still really good, but you would expect FaZe to win the round if they get a first blood. The reason why this is important is it just shows Toronto really adapting and kind of playing their style a little bit better than FaZe did in this, and it's how Toronto managed to make it to this round. So it wasn't them getting first blood and playing trade advantage. They really had to outplay FaZe going into this. But with those back-to-back rounds, they managed to tie up the series 5-5 and bring it to round 11, which is where we're at right now. So if you remember me talking about round 2, kind of that strategy, here's Toronto faking towards that A bomb site by having Kleenex smoke that A arches and nading out that car. So that way it makes it seem like FaZe don't get much info on what's going on because they won't see if there was a cross or not. And then on top of it, that bomb blowing at that car doesn't give FaZe information on whether or not Toronto may be pushing towards that. And also helps solidify the idea that Toronto is trying to play towards that A site. But we can actually see here that 3-man push that I was talking about, where we have Cammy back bar. I believe he's holding a sniper this round because he was sniping into Simp. And then the other 2, Bance and Classic, are pushing up. And then Kleenex is kind of helping hold that mid-map, but once they have that space, Kleenex will push up. Whereas Methods is still top cafe, which is pretty much where he played every single round. So this one's interesting just because they're pushing into that B tunnel, which is odd for them because usually they pick a left or right side. They get sniffed out and Major Maniac picks up that first blood, which is really huge because Toronto typically would back up and play from here, but Methods ends up picking up Celium as Celium is trying to back up and stay alive and hold that mid-map and keep that man advantage that FaZe had. So the round got tied up and both teams are just kind of waiting each other out, waiting for something to happen. You have Cammy doing a different play from what he normally does because usually he holds that mid-street angle with that sniper after the team is pushed up, or he'll push up into that apartment side and Methods will rotate up to Hazard in order to help that provide that team with distance. So this time he's picking up Water Street in order to help close up some of that distance on the map instead of playing so deep and playing with the team, which is not typical to see from Cammy. And I think this is a strategy that they adopted from the Dallas series that they played from beforehand because Dallas really punished and FaZe Clan did here with Cammy staying at bar for too long, especially with it being a predictable position for him. So both teams are just kind of waiting for each other to make a move and feel each other out in order to make a play from here. So right now, FaZe Clan set up pretty well across the map where they have even spacing, and Toronto make their classic B site didn't work, so now we need to rotate towards A. Only thing is they played the info on FaZe, around FaZe's info really well in order to make it into this site, so they don't get spot out until CleanX picks up the skill onto a BC. So CleanX's positioning here is really good. He manages to spot some of the rotation from FaZe while his team gets that bomb down, but he's just kind of trapped in a hard place where Methods, which I want to highlight this here, is here in the pocket of this site, just in front of that door, and Simp pushes around that corner, starts firing at the guy on bomb, or I think he was firing at CleanX here, and then Methods steps out and cleans him up, which Toronto knows that there's at least one more player from FaZe on this side of the map, and they don't have to worry too much about that half yet. So Priestahh wins a huge one-on-one in order to open up a lot of the space here, leaving the two teams in a 2v2 with 25 seconds on the bomb. FaZe sets up where they are going to try to flank, and Classic and Methods pop their dead silence in order to continue listening for these FaZe footsteps, and then set up on this bomb site in order to just have trade positioning and hopefully win things out. Based on the info they've had so far, they know Priestah's top, and the last time they've heard any other footsteps was on the other side of the map from where Major Maniac is right now. So Major Maniac has really good potential to make a play. Major Maniac picks up Classic, and then Methods gets a double kill here, which is really huge. I can't really fault FaZe here. Because they collapsed on this perfect, or as well as they could have in that scenario. Methods just had the ideal position for countering this. So what ends up happening, Priestahh jumps out of the window at Classic. At the same time, Major Maniac pushes him so they can guaranteedly trade Classic out, which then leaves Major Maniac to play a 1v1 with 19 seconds left, depending on wherever Methods could be, because right now he doesn't know where Methods is at. The thing is once Major Maniac kills Classic here, and I believe, once Major Maniac kills Classic here, Priestahh pushes forward in order to try and figure out where Methods is, so that Major Maniac is in positioning in order to quickly trade him out. The other thing that happens is that once that kill comes through, Major Maniac has to push, because if he doesn't, it gives Methods space to quickly escape, and maybe Methods is hurt, but Major Maniac has to play a really quick trade, because if he doesn't, Methods can make a play in order to extend the time and prevent Major Maniac from getting to the bomb site in time. But Methods does really good heads up pre-fire here on a Major Maniac, predicting Major Maniac's going to peek right away for this 1v1, and ends up killing him in a quick 1v2 with some really good shots, which is it was nuts to see live. Like, I was excited to see this come through. And just like that, that's how Toronto Ultra play out the round. So again, they made the adjustment of rotating Cammy away from that bar area, which is just an adaptive play. I don't know how much influence it had on the map or changed the pacing of things, but kind of the biggest benefit that came of it for them is just how after FaZe got the man advantage in round 11, they just really strove hard to maintain that by not really peaking anything, which gave Toronto the space to do their standard rotation from the mid-map area into that A bomb site, which ended up paying off for them. Anyway, that's all I got for this. This is how I hope this dissection of this round 11 was really interesting to you, and I'm thankful that you made it this far in it. So with that being said, I will talk to you guys later and have some more videos coming soon as I come up with different ideas and actually carry through on them. So I will see you all soon, and I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.